Good evening. Sorry, I have a very hoarse voice because I had a flu over the past week or so. So I've asked a friend of UNICEF to help me make my speech. A bright young future of Pakistan. A young 11-year-old boy who already wrote his memoir. Mohammed Hassanain, can you please come up and help me with this speech? It's okay, leave it for him.
Well, as you guys see, there's been a change of plan. And for those of you who know Abdullah very well, he's a bit, he's not that much skilled at public speaking. He asked me if I can help him out this evening. He says, you know what, we should forget about this old guy. He's on his way out. By the way, how old are you, Abdullah? Don't worry, you're still young at heart. Before I begin, Abdullah would like to thank Miss Catherine, Mr. Yahya for their generosity and their friendship, and for opening their home and their hearts to him and his friends tonight. Dear distinguished guests, dear colleagues and friends, I came to Pakistan with a purpose rooted in hope, to serve in a once-in-a-lifetime mission, the eradication of polio, to contribute, however humbly, to a future where no child would ever again be crippled by this preventable disease. It is a goal that unites science, the collaborative and collective courage to dream, the sacrifices of many, and the resolve of ordinary people. And I feel deeply privileged to have been a part of it. But not long after my arrival, there was a complete different mission, one born of utter devastation. Less than 2 months after my arrival, in August 2022, floods of a scale that we only read about in ancient texts, floods of a biblical proportion, nearly swallowed a third of the country, over 30 million lives upended, families displaced, futures drowned. It was a crisis this land had not seen in over a century. These floods were not just a freak of nature. They were the unmistakable fingerprints of climate crisis and climate change. Pakistan, though responsible for less than 1% of the global greenhouse gas emissions, is on the front lines of climate crisis. Rising temperatures have accelerated glacial melt and have intensified monsoon patterns and have weakened the already fragile infrastructure. We responded from the mountains of Gilgit-Baltistan and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, where I belong to the farmlands of southern Punjab and the floodplains of Sindh and Balochistan. We reached to millions, delivering safe water, healthcare, nutrition, safe spaces for children, dignity to mothers, and most of all, a perfectly nice environment for a child who had lost everything, a warm coat. Today I stand here having also witnessed diplomacy at its most urgent. War sparked between two nuclear nations averted. Crisis after crisis, Pakistan kept us on our feet. There was never a dull moment. It demanded resilience, creativity, compassion, and above all, humility. There is a saying we all know, Vini, Vidi, Vici. I came, I saw, I conquered. Julius Caesar's announcement following a decisive win in the Battle of Zela to Rome. But mine is a different story. I say, Vini, Vidi, Victus. I came, I saw, and I was defeated. But let me explain what I mean by defeated. Not all defeat is loss. Sometimes defeat is transformation, when something greater than you reaches into your soul and it humbles you. That's the kind of defeat I experienced in Pakistan. I was defeated by the sheer, breathtaking beauty of this land, the towering majesty of the Karakoram and Himalayan ranges, the serene valleys of Hunza and Swat, the rolling hills of Potohar, the vast deserts of Thar and Cholistan, and not to forget the emerald lakes and mighty glaciers, the poetry of the Indus River weaving life through the heart of the nation. All of it a canvas painted by nature with unmatched precision. More than the land, I was defeated by its people. I watched as everyday Pakistanis, not governments, not aid agencies, were the first to respond to disaster. I saw shopkeepers turn into relief workers, families open their homes to strangers, trucks filled with food and clothing for those in need. This is Pakistan, giving, brave, and endlessly resilient. I was equally captivated by Pakistan's culture and history, a land where ancient civilizations flourished along the banks of the Indus. Mohenjo-daro, Harappa, one of the earliest civilizations that remind us of Pakistan's place as one of the oldest cradles of human civilization. The architectural wonders of Lahore Fort, the poetry of Baba Bole Shah and Faiz Ahmad Faiz, not to forget Allama Muhammad Iqbal, the intricate embroidery of Sindh, the mystical rhythm of Qawwali, the music of Rabab in KP, the richness of Balochistan, and the diversity of Urdu, Punjabi, Sindhi, Balochi, Seraiki, Sheena, and much more. Each a thread in the vibrant tapestry that is Pakistan. But there is another kind of defeat I must speak of, one that weighs heavily. I have a feeling that the sad part of the speech is coming. So now I'll just pass it over to Abdullah. You guys know that despite his voice to carry the burden, I am too young and too hopeful to speak about the heavy stuff. I just stick to the good stuff.
It's the defeat that comes from unfulfilled potential, unfulfilled promise, unattained dream. Polio, the very first reason I came here to Pakistan, is once again surging. After coming so close to eradication, the virus is now finding a space to survive. Insecurity, misinformation, and the erosion of trust have turned this final mile into a hardest yet. It's a painful reminder that progress, no matter how hard won, can slip away if we do not remain vigilant and united. We must eradicate polio from the face of the earth, and with the current leadership and commitment of Government of Pakistan, I'm confident we will. During the floods, and despite the heroic response by government, by the people of Pakistan, by civil society, NGOs, national and international, and the support and generosity of many of the colleagues here and the international community, what I witnessed in the remote areas of the flood-hit areas was decades of underdevelopment and history of marginalization. Abject poverty I have not seen anywhere else I have served in the United Nations, a service of almost 25 years. I have served in Darfur. I started my career in Kosovo. I was in Syria. I was in Palestine. The painful misery I witnessed in some of these areas only were compounded by the floods, but they were deep-rooted already. How can a country with such extraordinary talent, beauty, soul, and still have 26 million children out of school? How is it that 40% of children suffer from stunting? And many parts in the country facing emergency level acute malnutrition? How can we accept Women who carry the burden and the promise of a nation remain on the margins with labor force participation of less than 21%. How can a society progress when half its population is excluded from economic life, leadership, and public spaces? Pakistan's human capital index is at 41%. Actually, real productivity is about 24%, meaning 1 in every 4 Pakistani is actually contributing. This is not a resource deficit. It's a structure that fails to unlock the brilliance within. Moreover, Pakistan now faces a climate crisis that threatens the very lifeline of the country. For 5,000 years, the Indus River has nurtured civilizations, sustained communities, shaped the identity of this land and the region. But now, as the glaciers recede, weather patterns become more erratic, the future of the Indus, and with it, the future of Pakistan, hangs in the balance. The climate crisis is not this distant threat. It's here, reshaping lives and landscapes in real time, and breathing toxic air into the wombs of pregnant mothers and the lungs of yet to be born children. Where is the societal response? Where is the outrage to protect the Indus River? The heartbreaking truth is that too often the ideals that inspired Pakistan, justice, equality, dignity, feel out of reach. The spirit of Islam, with which is the foundation of the creation of Pakistan, compassion, fairness, enjoining good, is often absent in the institutions that are meant to uphold it and the people who are supposed to propagate it. And for the poor in Pakistan, basic justice feels like a rarely granted privilege. This is the defeat that hurts the most, because the nation is capable of much more. And yet,
I leave hopeful. Hopeful because of the people.
Because of the shopkeeper in Sindh who gave away food when he had nothing left.
The girl in KP who dreams of becoming a scientist.
The engineer in Gilgit building bridges not just of stone, but of opportunity.
The countless women who lead in silence with strength the world doesn't always see.
The spirit of generosity I've witnessed will translate into systems that serve and work for everyone.
That the unmatched talent of Pakistan's people, men and women, will finally be free to shape the talent of Pakistan's people.
That Pakistan will not only survive its storms, but learn to harness its energy to drive progress, a country where its people don't just survive, they thrive.
That is the hope I carry.
Pakistan is a country where the sum must be greater than its parts. And I believe one day soon, it will be.
And let me tell you, the dream of Pakistan is not lost.
And if it ever flickers, it's kept alive by its people and friends like you. I may have come and been defeated, but I leave inspired.
I believe the next decades can be Pakistan's finest.
That the brilliance and the kindness, the courage of the people will carry it forward past the barriers of inequality and towards future worthy of its history.
Future worthy of its potential.
Future worthy of its children. Thank you very much.
आप सबका बहुत शुक्रिया. पाकिस्तान जिंदाबाद.